Hey guys, Thunder E here. You guys asked for this video, and here it is, the P40 Pro from Huawei versus the Galaxy S20 Ultra versus, yes, I added a few more, the LG V60 ThinQ and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now we're starting off with the front-facing camera. We're going to switch to those other two devices, all shooting at 4K 60, and then we will go ahead and record some more. So let's switch. So in terms of audio, both phones, the P40 Pro and the S20 Ultra, do a good job with audio recording. Now we're looking at the rear camera's 4K 60, and you can see the S20 Ultra has better stabilization than the Huawei P40 Pro. When it comes to colors, especially in the horizon, the sky, the P40 Pro is much punchier. The S20 Ultra is a bit more muted and more balanced, I would say. Now, in terms of this backlit shot here, I like what the S20 Ultra is giving me, but in general, both are still doing a good job, though stabilization is much better on the S20 Ultra. Now, let's switch over to the V60 ThinQ and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. All right, so now we've switched over to the LG V60 ThinQ and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. You're going to see how, of course, they handle video, walking with the front-facing camera 4K 60. Now, the LG has 3 different audio modes. What I'm using now is called Voice Bokeh, which focuses on my voice directly, so it should sound better than any of the other devices. But now we're going to walk and finish this and then switch to our rear cameras for both devices. So moving over to the rear cameras of both the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the LG V60 ThinQ, the first thing you notice is the iPhone stabilization. It is really good compared to, of course, what you're seeing from LG here, which is actually quite shaky. In terms of color tones, they look quite similar in terms of color tones and similar to the environment that I actually shot it in. Now, in terms of stabilization, I rank the iPhone number 1, the Galaxy S20 Ultra is number 2, the Huawei is number 3, and the LG V60 ThinQ comes in at number 4. But you've got to just be impressed with how well the iPhone is stabilized as a video camera. Now, when we look at shots from the front-facing camera of all these devices, the Huawei P40 Pro here and the S20 Ultra with its portrait mode do a really good job with edge detection. Also, skin tone is really good. Though the Huawei looks like a more polished version of me, I do like what the Galaxy is still doing right here. Shirt colors are also quite similar to what the shirt colors should be. LG, the shirt color is off. Also, my skin tone is more orangey, and there is some edge detection issues at the top of my head. The iPhone keeps the shirt color correct, as well as also my skin tone to match. Edge detection is pretty good all around, with just a few places here and there if I was going to nitpick. Now, as we transition to this image outdoors here, the Galaxy tends to darken me quite a bit, but its edge detection is pretty solid because my finger isn't blurred out, while the Huawei P40 Pro is blurring out my finger, but everything else seems solid. The colors of the Huawei actually spot on right here. Now, moving over to the V60 and the iPhone, both of them have brightened up the image quite a bit, and you can see the edge detection issues with the finger as well. But again, the whole image is bright, and I do prefer the V60 over the iPhone. What the iPhone is doing here is kind of fuzzy in a sense. Now, this is more of a backlit shot, and you can see again the darkness and the contrast the Ultra brings into the shot, though it still keeps a nice focus of blur in the background. The Huawei does a good job with me as well as also my background as well, but it doesn't blur it out as much in this shot. Now, the iPhone and the V60 have done something completely different. They try to brighten out the image, while the V60 has darkened me quite a bit, and also my shirt. The iPhone has kept the shirt color intact, but it's made me a bit more orangey, and everything in the background is just super bright and blurred out. So in an era of multiple main camera sizes, the Huawei here in this shot does a good job with its background bokeh, but I like what the S20 Ultra is doing. 108 megapixels compared to 50, of course, binning and all that fun stuff. Now, when you look at the LG V60 here, it's a bit brighter, and I do like what the iPhone is doing here, because of course the iPhone is giving a better representation of my skin color as well as also the color of my shirt. So that's something I think you guys should just pay attention when you're taking photos with these cameras. Now, this is a shot we'll get back to. The P40 Pro and the Galaxy, they both look great, though the color is of the S20 Ultra is closer to the exact color of this setting itself, while the LG V60 ThinQ here is much brighter, and the iPhone has gone into this blue tint, though they all look good, but very different color palettes that all these cameras are bringing to the table, especially for this shot, which we'll see later with some low light shots in this video. Now, here's an ultra wide shot. There's one thing the Huawei does, it tends to punch up the colors. I do kind of like it with the ultra wide because you're trying to capture a lot of a landscape. The Galaxy is a bit more muted here in this shot, especially this view of Brooklyn. The iPhone is also quite muted, and the LG is a bit pumped up, not too much though in terms of the color palette, but all look good in the ultra wide capture. So moving to this main shot here, both the Huawei and the Galaxy look pretty solid. The Huawei colors, of course, are a bit punchier, but that's fine. We're going to look at this path here straight down with all cameras, as well as the V60 and the iPhone 11 Pro Max here. Both of them are a bit on the have a bit more washed out look, but the colors still look fine. Now we're going to go into zoom. First, we're going to a 2x zoom for the LG V60 and the iPhone. You can see it's a bit much brighter. You can see more of that path in between, and this is the maximum zoom you can get without going into your digital zoom. But we're going to check out a 5x digital zoom so we can match up with the other devices. So with the V60 ThinQ, it's a bit brighter. You can see the two buildings in the back quite well. And it's a bit more focused than what the iPhone does with its 5x digital zoom. I prefer the V60 image. It just feels a little more sharper. Now, when we go to the 5x of the Galaxy and the Huawei has the natural darkness, which you would see because of the way the sun is at this point in time. The Galaxy brightens it up so you can see more detail with 5x zoom here. And when we move into 10x zoom though, the Huawei I think is just a sharper image, even though there's more shadow. The Galaxy is sharp, but it's a bit faded on the building on the right, so you have that in there. Now the Galaxy can go into 30 and of course 50 and 100x zoom, while the Huawei goes to 50. Now when we switch over to the front-facing camera at night, now this is quite interesting with the Huawei and the Galaxy. You can clearly see more of me on the Galaxy than the Huawei. The Huawei image is very noisy, and when we get into more lighting situations, the Galaxy lights it up a bit more, and just the imaging comes out much better on the Galaxy. Now, using the front-facing camera with the V60 and the iPhone, surprising with the iPhone is completely dark. The V60 is noisy, but you can clearly see me. You can clearly see me wear the Galaxy Buds, a much better image overall. But the iPhone, once you start getting in more lights, the iPhone basically, of course, looks a bit better right there. Now with the rear cameras for both devices, here we have the Galaxy. Now again, this is post update, so I've got autofocus, and you can see better focus. Stabilization of course is not as smooth, but still good. The Huawei is brighter but very noisy image overall. Again, this is all recording at 4K 60. And then when we move back to the LG V60 and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, the iPhone here is more stable, though the image quality, I think, though brighter, not as sharp as the V60. V60 is not as stable as the iPhone, and the imagery also, though sharper, but not as bright as what you have. Okay, what about night mode photos with the front-facing camera? Now the iPhone doesn't have a night mode, so this is a shot here with the iPhone. It's quite grainy, but you can clearly still see my face. Now when we move over to the other three phones, the Huawei, the LG, the Galaxy has the best image. It's less grainy, it's sharper, it's brighter. You can see my face, the colors of the two jackets I'm wearing. The LG V60 is the second best, though the color of my skin is more orangey in look, while the Huawei Huawei is probably the least out of all three, but still a good image. You can still see me clearly, but it's much darker of all three images here when it comes to low light selfies. Now, trying to recreate a club-like scene, we have some pink light coming in, and you can see the Huawei is kind of darkened my skin tone, especially around my face, and also darkened my shirt, while the Galaxy has kind of brightened the shirt up and infused that pink light all around, giving you a much clearer image, I think, overall, between these two. And then looking at the V60, it's really taking a lot of that light in. The shirt color actually isn't bad compared to the iPhone, where the top half of the shirt really looks deep blue, and then you've got more pink infusion in my face as well, making my skin tone look a bit reddish in general. Again, it's a tough situation, but I wanted to see how it would do in complex lighting and low light situations. Now, this is a shot I mentioned earlier that we were going to get back to, and we're checking out in, of course, low light situations. Both images look solid from both the Galaxy and the Huawei, though the Galaxy represents the color of the building much better and less contrast and saturation, as opposed to the Huawei, which has that kind of shiny sheen to it. Still lovely images, while the LG V60 is very similar to the Huawei, and the iPhone is similar to the Galaxy, though the iPhone has brightened the sky and added a little bit more of a slight orange tint, which isn't there. It's just adding more of the yellow from the lighting around the city it's picked up. Now, the ultra wide shot here, low light, both images look nice, though the Galaxy is more representative of the colors in daytime, and you can see more of the yard, as opposed to that darkened feature set where it's still clear, but very different on the Huawei P40 Pro. While with the V60 ThinQ, it's kind of added a bit more of a soft glow to it, while of course the iPhone doesn't have low light capabilities in the ultra wide camera. Hopefully that changes this year. You can see it's a bit more faded on the V60. Now, this is of course the main camera lens, and you've seen some of the similar features where I do like the way the Huawei looks in the background, while the foreground, the Huawei's colors are a bit off. The Galaxy is much better, and I like that that's the focus, and it's much sharper with the Galaxy than it is with the Huawei P40 Pro. Now, with the V60 ThinQ, it brightens everything all the way through, and I think the iPhone has the best background color palette, while the foreground is brighter. It's not as bright as the Galaxy, but it's still nice, and it's a good composition image as opposed to what the V60 brings, which is still good. Now, our final set of shots here, looking at, of course, this water tower we've taken a couple of times. The Huawei P40 Pro image is really nice. It showcases the fans, it shows the water tower, the building. The Galaxy is a bit more muted, something that we used to be bright, and maybe the update has changed a couple of things here. It's a bit fuzzy in the foreground, while both the V60 and the iPhone 11 Pro Max do a really good job here again, with the foreground and the background, while the V60 is really bright, especially around the subject matter of the water tower, and the iPhone is a little bit more balanced in between for the foreground and the background of the images. Now, when we look at zoom here, the Huawei is brighter with its zoom at 5x. The Galaxy a bit more muted, but again, both images, I think I do like the Galaxy. It's not as a shaky image as what I have with the Huawei. And then when we go to 10x zoom, this is where the Galaxy really shines. You can see 10x zoom on the Huawei. It's really dark. You can't see the subject matter quite clearly, as opposed to the Galaxy, where it's quite bright. You can read the lettering. You can see the water tower in clear, full distinction. So I have to say though, this comparison has been quite interesting with the results that you see here. On one hand, the iPhone 11 Pro Max still does a good job all around, but of course lacking certain aspects like no low light photography in ultra wide, and also the front facing camera. On the other hand, you have the P40 Pro, which comes in really strong with its imagery. In terms of taking photos, the front-facing camera does a really good job. The rear cameras also do a solid job, and the zoom also is quite impressive, matching or getting close to what the Galaxy S20 Ultra brings to the table. And the Ultra also is no slouch with its front-facing camera and its video acumen. Now, LG, on the other hand, seemed a bit average for me all around, but still solid. Maybe not as high as the other ones. It did really good job with audio though, especially in the voice recording with the front-facing camera, as well as also video recording with the front-facing camera in low-light conditions. I think there are many parts where these smartphones do better than the other depending on what you're looking at, but I think it all resides on what you want to use it for. And that's what I'm going to ask you guys. What did you guys think was the best smartphone for you here in this video? If you have any questions or any comments, let me know. If you're looking to buy any of the items you've seen in this video, use our links down below. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and always enjoy your entertainment.